deep climate politics and carbon markets for some 15 years or more. I think, I mean, basically what we have is a very flimsy life raft. That he's managed to get 197 nations on board to try and sail to 1.5 degree island. On the way, the cryosphere scientists will say, can't we actually kind of go back? We don't even want to be at 1.1, let alone reach 1.5, because the situation is already so bad. But at the same time, you know, we're kicking the can down the road. I think there's a lot of scalability that's possible in the loss and damage and financial aspects. And so it's an achievement that we've got 197 countries to agree which can we're kicking down the road and in which direction. That said, however, let's go back to Durban 2011 as we swapped in LinkedIn notes. You know, that's when we agreed to have a rule book by 2015 to be implemented by 2020. Okay, with COVID 2020 plus one. Basically, we still are agreeing the rule book. If you're looking at implementation of anything, even the $100 billion from the COP15 in Copenhagen, we're looking maybe to have that implemented by 2023, possibly with extra financing by 2025. So this is very disappointing and frustrating. And when you look at the overall ambition, the one thing which does frustrate me is I don't know how we really got to talking about net zero by 2050, because we all know if we look at the IPCC reports, the original 2 degree, the AR5, which was supposed to inform this whole process, was originally saying we're going to be at 1.5 by 2022. Their 1.5 degree report recalculated historical emissions, gave us an extra 5-year breathing space, which gives us to 2027. So really, we need to be looking at net zero by kind of around then 2030. So if I'm looking at the overall kind of global emission scenario, what are we really going to do? Because I think we're pretty cooked. This whole 1.5 idea is a little bit of a pipe dream. And for me, the only way forward is either on a global basis or at least amongst the G20 nations is to basically come up with a global cap where you cap the carbon content of energy and fuel as it versus the energy content of energy and fuel as it comes to market. This is what we need to do. And then you kind of create your William Nordhaus carbon club. And when they can no longer trade offsets between themselves, they can go to whatever replaces the CDMJI and the RED Plus and get their credits from there. And you can come up with carbon border adjustment mechanisms on countries who don't want to partake. I was encouraged that Xi Jinping would like to have a global carbon market. And I feel that we need to get the US to try and capacity build that ambition, because I think there's possibly some flavor now amongst the Republicans in the US that would probably take kind of an approach if they feel that you can have kind of carbon border adjusted mechanisms under the WTO to offer them some kind of sense of protection, because the US will always say, we're not going to take a hit for the environment economically if like China and other countries aren't going to be responding. So those are my reflections.
Okay. Thank you very much. Rishi.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add a few things.